Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Happy September 12th, everybody. Welcome to the Ask the Elephant for September. Should be a fun day. I am heading to GrandCon tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. So after hanging out with you guys for, I don't know, an hour or two, knowing me, it's a matter of packing up, getting ready for the trip. All the swag is packed up, ready to go. And then just have to finalize appointments for apartment hunting stuff when I get to Boston after following GrandCon. And then after that, back to Denver here, which the reason, or I should say at that point, I then pack up HCHQ and get ready to move to Boston. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about it. All right. Obviously, I don't have a place yet, but by the end of next week, the plan, hopefully, is to have that done. Let's hope. Also, I know that the numbers are going to be lower today than normal, and the reason for that being is September 12th, which means Apple is announcing their new iPhones, which for the first time in my entire life, I care about that. Reason? This thing's 4 years old. I'm going to treat myself, finally, to a new phone. And I've been waiting for this, for the new version. Yeah, I know. I'm not a huge Apple fanboy. I don't care one way or the other. It's what I'm used to. I like it. It works. So I'm going with it. So that's going to be my one treat to myself ahead of the move, is going to be a new phone. So I'm looking forward to that. So pretty stoked, actually. Pretty cool. So let's see. Let me catch up here at the beginning. You guys have been talkative for a while, a little bit. You guys, sorry, Phil. I hope the electrician has shown up. I hope that's happened for you. Yes, when I move, the time difference is going to definitely help those across the pond, because obviously when I move, the problem has been, and the reason we always do 7 o'clock whenever we live stream in the evenings here, is most people have to work during the day and can't come over for game day, etc., until after work. 7 o'clock seems a reasonable time to start. So instead of it being 7 p.m. Mountain Time, it's now going to be probably 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which means it's going to shrink 2 hours. It's going to start 2 hours earlier going forward. It may only be an hour. We may start at 8. We're going to see how people's schedules play out when the move to Boston is complete. So, yeah, we'll see on that. But that's kind of the idea, at least, that I'm thinking about. All right. So I hope everyone's having a good day today. If you guys are here in the States, you're probably at work. Hopefully hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out today. So let's see, what do we got? And yes, Rob works weird hours because he is a supervisor at one of the casinos down under, correct, Rob? I believe supervisor now, so congrats on the promotion. Yes, the 10S, I'm very excited about that. House sold? Nope. That would require somebody to come. The good news is we've dropped the price and now more people are coming. So the market's dictating. We had 2 showings. Nothing came of it. We had a showing last night. I haven't heard anything yet. We have another showing on Thursday. We have an open house on Saturday and another showing scheduled for Sunday. So let's hope. Okay. Good. Todd said he really loved the stream last night. Glad to hear it, Todd. I really loved the stream last night. And yeah, it's no surprise that Teotihuacan is going to be a really, really popular game. It's already sold out the first printing. They've already started the printing on the second one. So yeah, it's going to be a massive hit. Coming out ahead of Essen here in the States and at Essen for overseas. Going to be a massive hit. Are we going to hear the winner of Clay's Name the New Capstone Train Game Series contest today? Yep, we are, Dominic. Good call. Let's see what else. Since you guys brought it up in the special announcement, will Reef Encounter be the first stream in the new HCHQ? Didn't see it in the upcoming list. Maybe. I'm not going to promise anything because, again, depending on players, player counts, etc., I don't want to promise that it's going to be the first one, but it's definitely going to be coming. Okay, and yes, I do. Yeah, so looking forward to that. Dan asks, any plans to play Underwater Cities, assuming you have a copy, of course. Don't have a copy, so maybe? We'll see. Camille asks, did you guys test City of the Big Shoulders yet? Yep, I've played it. I really, really like it. I played it last year as well. Hasn't changed. Still really big fan of it. You guys are going to see a live stream of the prototype once on the other side of the move. For those that didn't hear, I suppose I announced this to our patrons last week. I wanted to go ahead and put this out there for those that care. Here is kind of the plan for the rest of September and kind of October. Preface, this is written in sand, okay? Everything about what I'm about to tell you is, if everything breaks right, this is the plan. So if it doesn't happen, understand things may change. Things are very fluid right now. So here is the plan. Heading to Grand Con tomorrow. Then on Sunday, I head to Boston, spending the entire front half of the week there apartment hunting, hopefully landing a place for the new HCHQ, as well as for me to call home. And then from there, coming back to Denver, we're going to have a ton of live streams up until September 27th. September 27th is going to be a patron-only Glory to Rome stream with some folks, some regulars that have been on the show, and that is going to be the final live stream from Denver. At that point, we're going to start tearing down the studio and packing up this and hopefully hitting the roads soon thereafter within a couple of days. Moving to Boston, we're going to, on the road trip, we're going to announce, I say we, but it's me. It's just the global we, the royal y'all, right? The royal we. Going to be moving to Boston. The plan is probably to get a pods, the little thing where you pack it up and then they ship it and a week later it shows up, that type thing. So with that being the case, I'm going to road trip essentially over the course of 3 to 5 days. Not sure how long going to take on that yet. And give me 1 second here. There we go. Going to road trip and going to schedule it out, and barring any unforeseen changes, I'm going to announce where I'm going to be stopping each night along the way and hopefully meeting up with some members of the herd along the way. The first stop I think is pretty sure it's going to be Kansas City, get some barbecue and hang out with some folks. I can't promise I'm going to be up for playing games after driving all day. We'll see, but definitely will be up for meeting folks, hanging out, having some barbecue, having a drink maybe, or just some iced tea, and then calling it a night and hitting the road for the next day. Whether that's stopping in Cincinnati or Dayton over at Clay's from Capstone, we'll see. But I'm going to announce that along the way. That's going to be the trip. When I get to Boston, I've had a number of folks volunteer to help unpack and set up the studio. And if you're listening in Boston and you're in the Boston greater area, i.e. within 2 hours, I'd say, you're welcome to come help. I very much welcome that. And if you're within 2 hours here in Denver and you're listening, you're more than welcome to come help pack. I may give away games as thank yous and probably beer. So there's that. So I will need help on both ends of that. We're going to set up the studio, and then the hope is have 1 week's worth of live streams before I leave for Essen. Essen being the biggest convention of the year, especially for me and Heavy Cardboard. I'm planning on bringing back a pallet's worth of games. So it's kind of an important trip for me to make. Now, during the evolution, during the move, I'm going to be recording some content. The podcast, the reviews are going to happen fortnightly, so every other Thursday. So tomorrow, you guys are going to be getting the review of Power Grid that Michael and I did. 2 weeks from now will be another review. 2 weeks after that will be another review. That said, the YouTube channel won't be live, obviously, while I'm on the road. However, once I get to Boston, even if the studio's not set up, I may host an Ask the Elephant or just kind of a, hey, here's what's going on live stream type thing. And then once the studio's set up, hopefully have a week's worth of live streams before Essen. Then obviously the trip to Essen happens. Then after that, the only stuff I really have is we have BGGCon and then PAX Unplugged. And I guess I can announce that here. At PAX Unplugged, I'm going to be hosting a live teaching in front of a live audience, 11, 12 copies of the game of Root. I'm going to be teaching it in front of everybody up on a projector, have an audio system, the whole 9 yards. So PAX Unplugged and Matt Morgan have asked me to do that on Friday night at PAX Unplugged at 8:30, I think. So hopefully I have some folks from the herd hanging out in there. And then after that, following that in the same room is going to be the Meetup at PAX Unplugged. So that's kind of the schedule going forward from now until at least the end of October, I guess is a good way to put it, because Essen is late in October. Let's see. Heading to BGGCon, we're going to do a little rolling con. So it's going to be me, Rand, and Jess taking a train, my first Amtrak, from Boston to Chicago. And in Chicago, we're going to meet up with James Nathan and I think maybe one or two other folks. And we're going to be riding the train from Chicago down to Dallas. We're going to be playing train games exclusively on both of those segments of the train and recording it and making some content during that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun and some cool stuff. Obviously not live streaming from the train. I don't have the capability to do that yet. But yeah, that should be a lot of fun. So there you go. That's kind of the gist of what's coming up in the next couple months, okay? So again, I ask patience. I ask a little bit of flexibility on all of this, especially with the dates. But that said, really excited about how things are going and how things are going to go. Now, if we can only get this damn house sold, that would be great. I would really appreciate that. So if anybody's in Denver, really nice house. Just saying. Speaking of Grand Con earlier, so Grand Con is this week, Thursday through Sunday, going to be there. Going to be there to play games. That's it. Not going to work, going as an invited guest of Grand Con. So appreciate that, Brian, who runs Grand Con. Thank you. Going to have the Heavy Cardboard Meetup Saturday at 7 p.m. at The Bob, which is about 2 blocks south. I think it's on Monroe Street or Monroe Avenue, which is just south of where the convention center is. So if you guys are at Grand Con, come, please, let's hang out. And also, if you're at Grand Con, let's play some games. I'm there to play games. That's it. I will have swag there. So I'll have a bunch of t-shirts, patron t-shirts, ball caps, and challenge coins, pins, and Lisboa promos if you buy stuff. There you go. And it goes to support the show. So thank you. All right. Cool. So let's see. Andrew, any movement on the big Age of Steam announcement that was teased? Well, here, I'll just tell you what it is, but it's not written in stone yet. I've gotten permission to reprint all the Winsome Age of Steam maps, and I've gotten permission to at least handshake agreements to reprint all of Ted Allsbach's maps. So we'll see how that goes. Okay? There you go. Nothing is finalized yet, but I've gotten the permission on gentleman's agreement so far. Nothing is finalized, but there's that. Okay, so there you go, Andrew. I'd prefer that not get, oh, it's come. Let's rein it in. I'm trusting you guys with this. So just, I'll announce it when it's ready to be announced, but that's what we're working towards. How's that? Undefined asks, any plans to lighten the load and sell off games not making the trip for either of you? So Amanda, I told her that, okay, what games do you want? go choose. And I think we discussed this before, that there were really only two games that were contentious, and the contention ended after one 10-second little quick discussion. We're like, oh, okay, both ways. She's taken, I don't know, 20, 25 games. The rest are coming with me. Any plans to offload them? I would love to, but realistically, the logistics of packaging up games and selling them off and mailing them and doing all that is just not realistic. It's not going to happen before the move. So no, I'm going to be moving the entire library with me as of right now. If somebody wants to come to HCHQ and offer up specific, hey, I want this, 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 and this, hey, I might entertain that. But as far as mailing them, no. Yorick asks, will you be playing the full BIOS game or the easy version? You guys see behind my head, BIOS Megafauna 2. That's going to be coming next Sunday. That is confirmed. I say next Sunday, but I don't mean the one that's coming up right now, but the following one. I don't know. Dominic is going to be the one teaching it, so he's in chat. He'll be able to answer that, actually. Okay? Welcome all the new viewers. Any thoughts on doing a heavy cardboard network in the future? Bringing on new collaborators to help lighten the load a bit? Yep. Okay, moving on. John, I know heavy cardboard doesn't often, if ever, cover co-ops, but have you ever considered playing or streaming Freedom, the Underground Railroad? Absolutely. That is the one co-op that I've played, other than, I guess, the Grizzled, that I enjoyed. And yeah, I could definitely see that coming in the future for sure. And I have a copy, so there's that. Gurav asks, where in the Boston area am I looking? Up in the Wakefield. Well, okay. The reason I've always said Boston area, to me, Boston is basically everything within an hour of Boston. To me, that's Boston. I'm not a local yet. I've been told that if you're not in Boston proper, you're not in Boston. So that's why I've said the Boston area. I'm going to be looking in the Wakefield area specifically, which is kind of 20 to 25 minutes northwest of Chinatown. That's the one landmark that I use because I go to Chinatown every trip I make there because it's awesome. It's open until 3:30 in the morning. At least some of the places are, and it's amazing food, and it's cheap. So that's my landmark, okay? But that's where I'm looking. Yeah, that kind of general area. And wow, it's really expensive to live there, just so y'all know. So since I'm moving there and having to endure these costs, partially, mostly, I would argue, because there is a huge contingent of the herd that's up there that wants to be a part of the new game group that's going to be forming, as well as being on streams and stuff. And so I expect folks to help out with that. You guys are going to be invited. Good personality, enjoyable to play with, and shower, which you're herd members, so I assume that's all happening. So yeah, going to be invited over to HCHQ for a couple game days a week, each week, obviously, unless I'm on the road at a convention. And we're going to be playing games, and then we're going to be live streaming games. So looking forward to that. So hopefully folks are willing to make the drive. All right. Morton asks, will I get a warning when my annual subscription is up for renewal? Funny you mentioned that, Morton. You almost would think that I planted this, and I really didn't. We literally were working on that today, me and the small council, and that we finalized everything. And yes, the first two renewal notices for all our annual patrons, which there are 84 of y'all out there, we actually sent the first renewal notices. Is that what you call them? Or heavy cardboard patron annual renewal notice email thing. Sure. Sent the first two today. When I'm done with this, there are 23 patrons that are annuals that started in October that are going to be getting letters today, as well as the one. There was one from August, one from September, and 23 from October. All of y'all are going to be getting letters or emails today. So yes, you are going to be getting that, Morton. And I appreciate the continued support. Thank you very much. This way, that number doesn't go, oh, hey, there you go. That number doesn't go down because that includes the 84 annual patrons, along with all of those that headed over to patreon.com/heavy cardboard to support over on Patreon. So again, I mean, if you look, it's right there, pledgehc.com. You go there, you have two options. You can either do the annual pledge through the store, or you can, there's a button there that sends you to Patreon, and you can do the monthly support there. Honestly, I don't care which people choose, as long as you choose to support the show. It's very much appreciated. And Todd says, if you're driving to Boston, come to Springfield, Illinois to play with my group. I don't know what the route is going to be yet, Todd, but I will announce it to everybody when it's decided and let everybody know. Again, I'm not going to promise anything about playing games while I'm on the road because it's a lot of driving, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? So yeah, KC, you are definitely going to be a stop and plan for that. Where, I don't know yet, but I plan on getting barbecue while I'm there and meeting up with a bunch of the herd members, all right? Cool. Dan says, if on your road trip you get to the UK, you missed your turn. Noted. Okay. Christopher, have you played Sands of Time yet? Nope. If so, thoughts? Haven't played it yet, but it's going to be on the short list early on when the move is complete to Boston to get that played and streamed and hopefully reviewed as well. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about the idea of live teaching a game. I've obviously live taught in front of a table full of people. Never done it for a whole room. Probably be a little nervous about that, but you know what? You know what's really cool? I have my teaching script that I already did for Root, so I don't even... Problem solved, right? That's pretty easy, so that's cool. Speaking of which, here's my one pitch for perks. I guess 2 perks for folks that choose to support the show through Patreon or annual. Number 1, $5 and up, you get access to our Slack channel. And the majority of the names that I see here are patrons as well as folks that enjoy the Slack channel. Really cool discussion group. And the nice thing is it's been so far basically 100% self-policed. We do have mods. Haven't had to mod really anything. And the people there are really respectful. They can have civilized adult discussions as opposed to what you cannot do most of the places on the internet. Pretty amazing community. Thanks to y'all. So thank you to each of you for making that such an amazing community. The second perk at the $10 and up level is you get access to all of my teaching notes. So my stuff from Teotihuacan. I'm butchering that, I know. Bear with me. Last night's teach. Here's a spoiler. It's going to be available to everybody. This is the one teach, my teaching notes that we are going to make available to the public. Kind of the first hit is free type thing to show you guys what is available to all our patrons at $10 and up. So yeah, all right. So there's that. So those are the 2 things. Cool. All right. And welcome everybody, obviously, but also to our mods. Thanks everybody. Whether that's Rob, Franny, Jess, Dan, Bev, Amanda's still a mod. Yeah, and Tony. Really, really appreciate the support moderating everything, guys, and keeping everything cool. Haven't really had to mod a whole lot of stuff, but it's nice to know that I have you guys there to help. So thank you very much. Yeah, Trevor says table space seems like it'd be tight to get an 18XX on a train. Rand and James are going to figure it out. I'm there to play games and record some stuff, so that'll be cool. Appreciate that. Dan says, step aside, Tom Vassell. There's a new sheriff in town. Good luck with the host duties. Appreciate it. I don't know about all that. Tom's been doing it a whole lot longer, and he's got a way bigger audience. But I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless, Dan. That's really kind. Thank you. Oh, there you go. And Nick says the corner of Monroe and Fulton is the Bob. Okay. And Nick is taking me and Jess out on a culinary adventure Friday night while in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Dude, I cannot wait. You have no idea how excited I am about this. I really am. James says, and you're going to let me redraw all the maps. We'll talk about that, James, but possibly. Boja70 says, hi, Edward. Can you already reveal some new plans for the channel, new concepts? Well, I've already kind of talked about it. This isn't really anything new. So if you listen to the big announcement when Amanda announced to everybody that she is stepping aside from the show, I talked about briefly some of the ideas that we have for what to do with the podcast. And you guys, if you've listened to the podcast, whether that's via your favorite podcast app or you go to heavycardboard.com and you listen to the podcast there, you'll hear that so far, for the first couple weeks, or first couple of episodes anyways, I have done a revolving door of guests on kind of as a second chair. And that's going to continue, no doubt. Don't really have any concrete plans on changing that right now. So that is definitely one thing that's going to continue for the podcast. Earl Grey, of course. The other idea that we're toying with is whether that's here on YouTube or over on Caffeine. Me having my notes in a whole 9 yards and my outline that I do for every episode, but doing solo reviews, but not. And what I mean by that is I'm going to be doing them live. So I'm going to be recording just like I do, whenever you see this mic, it's getting recorded. It's just whether or not it gets uploaded somewhere else, et cetera, et cetera. So instead of me having a second host here in the studio with me, I kind of will have a whole bunch of second hosts out there with y'all, with the Peanut Gallery and the Herd. So the idea that we're toying with is I have my outline, and then I go through the review. But as you guys are hearing the review live, whether, again, that's on Caffeine or here on YouTube, you guys will be able to give me either your experiences with the game, the game or the topic or the mechanism or whatever, and give me your feedback on that. And I can then include that into the podcast, obviously in real time. And not only your experiences with the game, your thoughts on the game, you can ask questions so that if there's something about the game that, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that, I can talk about that. And this is where having played the game 4, 5, 6, 7 times before I do a review really comes in handy, because even if I haven't thought about it that way, I still should be able to answer it on the fly. That makes sense? And so kind of doing an interactive review live, whether, again, Caffeine or YouTube, and then editing it a little bit so that it's a little bit more fluid for those folks that listen via audio only on the podcast, editing that down a little bit and then shooting it out for the podcast, and that being the review. I'm really damn excited about that idea. You know what? It might be a horrible idea in actual practice, but it's something I'm awfully excited about. And I feel like I have both the capability, I have the ability to do so, but also I have an amazing community in you guys to be able to use that, because obviously there's a whole bunch more of y'all than could ever be on the podcast normally. So if you guys are tuning in live, you can kind of be a part of the podcast, even though it's just my voice, but it's your words in a lot of ways. Does that make sense? So I'm really stoked at that idea. So for the podcast, those are the two things that I'm toying with. Does that mean there will never be a second host of Heavy Cardboard? No, absolutely not. I'm not saying definitives on anything at this point. But I am going to experiment, and I'm going to try things and not only see things that I enjoy doing and find out if I enjoy doing them, and whether or not you guys enjoy listening and or seeing them. I mean, it's collaborative in that aspect from a standpoint of I have to want to do it, right? Yes, I realize this is my job, but I don't want to trudge along. I want this to be something I'm passionate about and enjoyable because that's why I started doing it to begin with. But it's also collaborative because if you guys don't enjoy it, then why the hell am I bothering to do it? Right? So it's got to be a team effort here. And so I'm really excited about a lot of these ideas. Now, over on the YouTube side of things, since that's where we are, obviously the playthroughs are going to be the bread and butter, the meat, the focus of the YouTube channel, right? I mean, let's face it, we had 170 folks here last night and, whatever, 1,700 views already, which for me, that's a lot. We're a very small show compared to a lot of the other media outlets out there. So to be able to pull in those kind of numbers, that's awesome. So obviously folks are enjoying that. I'm going to continue or bring back, I guess is a good way to put it, the conversations with Heavy Cardboard, the in-depth interviews, because honestly, I really enjoy those. And I'm interested in those, even if they don't always pull in the biggest numbers. I really like doing those. So those are going to continue. We're going to do some features on mechanisms, specifics, and this is going to be both for the podcast as well as the YouTube channel, kind of reviews on mechanisms themselves. Like, we originally did one on worker placement or action selection and on auctions, and kind of going back to that, as well as designer features and possibly having those designers on with these features, or at least segments with them, little interviews with them there. Obviously, there's going to be convention coverage as well as I go to conventions, keeping in mind, starting in 2019, the convention schedule is going to be severely condensed, meaning, or truncated. It's not going to be, there's not going to be nearly as many conventions going forward. And let me see, what else? Okay, a couple other things that we're talking about doing, and this I would love y'all's feedback on. So first is short, concise setup videos. So, for instance, take Teotihuacan. Oh my God, really? Teotihuacan. There we go. Last night's video, showing a short little video on how to set up the game this way. Because let's face it, a lot of rule books, Teotihuacan is different. It's actually really clear on the setup, but a lot of rule books aren't. So showing how to set up the game and a short little video to do that. So going to be doing some of those. Total brain cramp. There was one other really big thing that I wanted to talk about as far as for live stream. Oh, that was it. Stepping stones. So how to get from, for instance, Ticket to Ride to 18XX, and giving examples and talking about why they're good stepping stones, et cetera, in my opinion, for these games. And the top sixes are going to be coming back as well. Once things are settled down with the move, yeah, there's a lot of ideas and a lot of plans for behind this, or for more content. And it doesn't mean I'm going to run myself ragged. It means that, you know what, if we're doing a top six or we're doing something else, that means there's going to be, the 1 week there's going to be less playthroughs that week, and we're going to mix it up. But again, the focus is going to be on medium and heavy strategy playthroughs, war game playthroughs, and 18XX playthroughs. That is what the core of Heavy Cardboard is, and that's what it's going to continue to be for the YouTube channel. For the podcast, the focus is going to be on reviews of medium and heavy strategy games, war games, and 18XX games. And by moving to Boston, I'm going to have more access to people that I can play these games with. It's just a huge pool from which to pull from with the herd, whereas here, with everything that's gone on, our game group has shrunk, and it's no longer viable long-term for me to stay in Denver. So there you go. Whew. There you go. So Boja70, I hope that answered your question. And for anybody else that had those questions, hopefully that helps. Okay. Oh, hey, look at that. Andrew. Cheers, Andrew. Welcome to the herd. You're all right in my book, Andrew. Everybody else, be like Andrew. Thank you very much for the support, man. Really appreciate it. Vince asks, do you ever record a bunch of content at once and slowly release it, like 3 reviews at the same time, sitting and releasing over a month and a half? That's never been the way we've worked. The one small exception to that was ahead of the big trip this summer. Amanda and I sat and recorded a bunch of reviews, and then the front ends of the show, you know, the timely stuff, the stuff that matters, that is, hey, what's been going on right now, what we've been playing, etc., etc. We then would record that while I was on the road. Is that something I'm willing to do going forward? Absolutely, I'd give it a try. It's just, you got to understand that to be able to do these reviews, because it requires so many plays for at least me to be comfortable to review these heavier games, that's a lot of playing a lot of games in a short amount of time to be able to do so, because then you have to continue doing that content in the meantime while you're preparing for those. So I'm not saying that it's not possible. It's just I haven't found a way. But now that we've kind of scaled the podcast back a little bit to fortnightly, that might happen more. And obviously with the new way of doing the podcasts with a guest, and or if I'm going to be doing them live on Caffeine/YouTube, that may change that as well. So it's something I'm willing to entertain, just have never done it that way. I know there are other shows that do that. They have one big recording time, like one day each month or something. A lot of prep goes into these reviews, anywhere between 6 to 15 hours, depending on the depth of what it is that we're talking about. So it's a lot of prep that goes into it along with playing the games. Not complaining, mind you. I'm just saying that a lot goes into it. And so I don't know if that's something I would want to sit down and do. Okay, this is podcast week. And you know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see. Ian asks, Edward, are you already checking out all the Essen releases? If so, which games are you most excited about? I'll be honest, with everything that is going on here with the house sale, the move, trying to keep the show running with the reviews as well as the live streams and everything else, and the move, no, I haven't. Once the move is done, even if the house is kind of in chaos, the 2 weeks leading up to Essen are going to be focused entirely on preparing for Essen. And so I really haven't a whole lot right now. So here's my question for you, Ian. What games are you most, give me your top 5 that you're most excited. And for anybody else out there, I'm curious what your guys' top 5 most anticipated games coming out at Essen is. Plus, that helps me. Okay, and Dominic asked the question about BIOS Megafauna, says, we're going to be playing the Ecturbon game, but not the long version. Okay, there you go. I will play it for the first time next Saturday, the day before we stream it, and then we'll be doing it live on the stream on Sunday. So that'll be fun. John asked, the library tour was incredible. Could patrons get a behind-the-scene video tour of the studio before the teardown? Yeah, I think we could do that. That's a good idea. Let me make note of that. Oops. All right, I'm not going to promise, John, but I like the idea, so I'm going to try to do that. Okay. Sean asks, will there be an Essen pre-show like I did last year and also the year before? It's not going to be with Punching Cardboard because we have gone different directions since HeavyCon. But could it be an Essen pre-show of games that I'm anticipating? Yup, that's going to probably be the episode that happens right before Essen. Yes, that is definitely going to be the podcast of that for sure. Camille says that's a dangerous precedent you're setting, playing train games on an actual train in before requests for Reef encounter in full scuba gear. I'm going to leave stuff like that to Shut Up and Sit Down, and no pun intended. Those guys are going to be the experts when it comes to shtick, stuff like that. And they're both shows really damn well produced, really good, and they're really funny. I'm gonna leave that to them, because although, could you imagine me with snorkel and anyway, goggles? Vince, Freedom the Underground Railroad, and any of you mods, if you guys want to link for the request geek list, I'm going to be hammering that. I'm going to be focusing a lot more on that request geek list on what to live stream after the move. So make sure that's on the list, Vince, and get folks to thumb it, and we'll get it played. How's that? Okay? Nice. Garav. And Garav says that's not far from where he lives. Awesome. And Downriver Rick says Wakefield's a nice area. I think it is as well. Plus, it's near where Jess lives. So obviously that's coming into play here too. Yeah, 3:30 in the morning. It's just like real China, right? Jess says it's amazing. Lantern lights in a park, mahjong played on the tables all around, and there's no reason we can't play board games out there too. Vince, I would love to, says, if you love Chinatown, Edward, you should definitely come visit me here in southern China. Hong Kong's amazing, and the food near me is amazing. I would love to visit China. Never been. I've been to Japan. I've been to Thailand. Never been to China, but I would love to go. So, Vince, we need to rig it to where you win one of the Heavy Cardboard Game Day Around the Worlds. I'm kidding about the rigging, but I would love to go. That would be cool. All right, Vincent asks, during the playthrough of Rising Sun, you said that it was a game you wouldn't normally play. Why is that? Apart from the minis, it's a no-dice, luckless strategy game. So let me kind of come at this backwards, okay? The initial feeling that I got before playing Rising Sun was that it's minis with a game attached to it as opposed to a game with minis, okay? So I was under that impression. And with that impression, I had no interest in playing the game because of that. But Tommy over at Meeple Realty had an early copy. He was like, "Hey, this would be cool if you could stream this." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's actually a really good game." I was like, he's like, "You want to borrow my copy?" And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a try and we'll see." We played it and we're like, this is actually pretty cool. It had some really cool stuff. So as to why I wouldn't normally play that game is because I'm human too. Sometimes you judge a book by its cover, right? Like Brides and Bribes. I initially had no interest in that game because of the title. Then Carmen over at Game Surplus is like, "Dude, you need to try this game. This is really good." A dozen Glory to Romes later, and Rita has the honorary place up here on the Glory to Rome board. And yeah, it was fantastic. Loved it. Rising Sun, while I didn't love it, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. The bidding for during the battles, I thought was fantastic. The rest of the game was and I really couldn't care less about the minis. Don't get me wrong, Simon. It's really impressive. They're gorgeous minis. I appreciate the sculpts. Doesn't interest me. That's not my cup of tea. That's not why I play games. Nothing wrong with it if that's why you enjoy it. Play what you dig. Just not my thing. So minis, yeah, for the most part, those just don't really interest me. So that's why, Vincent. But yeah, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, but I didn't love it. And the thing that really pissed me off about Rising Sun is 6-player game. Yeah, you can't play it in the base package. You have to actually get expansions to be able to play the full 6-player game. That kind of sticks in my craw. Not going to lie. That doesn't seem right. I should be able to play the entire base game in the, wait for it, base game. Morton, and because I'm slow and give super long answers, probably longer than are needed, Morton, going back to the whole annual patron thing, says, guessing a lot switched to annual because of the Patreon failure last year. Yes. When Patreon said, oh, they're going to start charging the fees to the patrons and not to the creators, everybody, creators and patrons alike, revolted. And some of the people left Patreon, and we lost a lot of supporters because of that. And then we had offered the annual option, and a lot of people moved over to that. And, well, 84 of them specifically. As long as you keep moving a couple of time zones closer to Denmark every year. Boston. Eastern, work with me. All right. No, really appreciate the continued support for everybody that is our annuals as well as our monthlies. Without y'all, I can't do this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And honestly, I really want my Davis tattoo. Can we get this up to 1,000? That'd be awesome. I promised to get a tattoo of Davis. We hit 1,000. I didn't ever think it was really going to be possible. We're getting dangerously close. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Gurav asks, any plans for Escape Plan? Yup. Eagle has already reached out to me to try and get a playthrough of Escape Plan ahead of the release. Once they have advanced production copies, I was talking to the folks over there, and we're gonna work something out for that. So yes, look for that ahead of the general release of that. Hey, Rabbi, welcome, and new NBO, welcome. Yorick giving me a hard time about giving out the free teaching script for Teotihuacan, saying you give kids free samples because he knows full well today's innocent victims will be tomorrow's clientele. Just saying, it's marketing, right? The first hit's free. Yeah. Any news on the Essen meetup? Marlon asks. To the best of my knowledge, and I haven't verified, but I'm 99% sure that it's going to be Friday, 7 p.m. at Fitzpatrick's or Hudson's, which is right there, the same building. It's going to be in one of those two. So 7 p.m. Friday. The last couple of years, we've had about 120, 130 folks show up. Going to be presenting Vital Lacerda with his Golden Elephant Award, as well as, honestly, it's just a really amazing meetup of patrons, of the herd members, of designers, of publishers, and most of all, everybody that I just listed, friends. So if you'd like to be in that environment, and it's an amazing, really, really fun environment of food and drinks and everybody having a good time, seriously, I'd plan on being there Friday, 7 p.m. at Fitzpatrick's, maybe Hudson's, which is right next door. And I'll announce it as we get closer, okay? Also, going to be heading, not sure where, but to help, because Essen is such a exhausting trip. It's amazing, don't get me wrong. But it is the hardest trip that I have every year because of the fact that I'm picking up basically all the majority of the games that I'm going to be reviewing and live streaming and all that throughout the entire year at Essen. I'm having to run around booth to booth to booth to booth to booth for 4 days. Plus interviews, setting up interviews, networking, setting up connections with folks, the whole 9 yards, and meeting with people. I'm going to be at the ADC Blackfire booth half the time probably. It's exhausting. So that said, I'm going to be traveling either to the Netherlands or to Paris, depending on which is cheaper, honestly, a few days before Essen to be able to kind of acclimate and get rid of jet lag so that I'm fresh for Essen. All right. So where details will be given on that ahead of time, because last year flew to Amsterdam, $450, I think, round trip from Denver. So yeah, it can be really, really cheap going to Essen, relatively speaking, compared to, say, Gen Con, which is prohibitively expensive, which makes no sense. Jeff says Q39 for barbecue in Kansas City, huh? All right, Q39. Noted. All right. What made me choose Boston? Two things. Number one, there is a huge contingent around that area of heavy gamers and herd members that for playing games and for live streams, having access to gaming. That is the biggest reason. The other reason is my girlfriend lives there. And Denver wasn't going to work anymore because we were selling this house. And I've lost most of the game group, or at least not most, but a large part of the game group here. And I didn't have that here in Denver. So I was going to move. So that's why I chose Boston. So hopefully that answers that. Johan? York says Rand did great on the colonialism podcast. I agree. I think he did really, really well. Welcome, Ollie. Scott? Morton says the live review makes a ton of sense. The herd should be able to add a lot of value through pointed questions and observations. That was kind of our thinking. And I'll be honest, I can't remember exactly who thought of that. I don't think it was me. It might have been Rob, might have been Bev. It was somebody in the small council that had that idea originally. And I was like, plus it keeps things fresh for me, honestly. And it's exciting and nobody's doing that. So yeah. And now if somebody does try and do it, they stole the idea. So there's that. PAX Emancipation coming up. Got to get a copy first, Scott. Maybe in due time, sure. The rabbi asks, now that you're moving, is the heavy cardboard store on hold? I need to order some stuff. That was a lot. That was lost in the country of Georgia. Oh, that's a bummer. Rabbi, I'm sorry to hear that. No, the store is not on hold. Most of the store is currently in Boston. And yeah, orders, it may be a little bit slow for right now, but be patient. But no, it is very much open for business. So if you want to purchase any swag, go to heavycardboard.com/store-1. Go to heavycardboard.com, find the store link, click on it, and all the stuff's there. All right. Nick says, thank you for bringing back Conversations with Heavy Cardboard. My favorite content on the show. Can't wait. Yeah, that was some of my favorite as well. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Kwanchai is going to be a guest. I knew I shouldn't have tried to name names, but yeah, basically insiders that are in the process, in the board game production process. So Paul Inkow, I'm definitely who is a developer. I'm really excited. I've been trying to get him on a conversation with Heavy Cardboard for a year. That's going to be happening probably post-Essen. All these are going to happen post-Essen just because between now and Essen's pretty, So there's that. Eric also misses the conversation, so good, cool. All right, and Trevor, and this is a fair point. Trevor says, I'm glad the reviews are going to be undergoing some experimentation. Maybe I'm alone, but they started to get a bit boring. They started to feel samey as you guys stepped through the review checklist, and that's fair. And I think I talked about this publicly, but if not, I'll do so now. The podcasts are work. There is nothing fun, I'll be honest, about the reviews on the podcast in a sense that there is so much prep time that goes into them and it's not interactive, really. It's me and, whether it was me and Tony, me and Amanda, or me and one of the guests. The guest hosts help because it's somebody new, right? They got stale from me too. And it became a grind. So having the guests as well as possibly doing it live, I really enjoy this interaction right here that you and I are having right now. And if you can see, my energy is like, this is popping for me at least, and I hope it's coming through for y'all. So I wanted something to reinvigorate myself for the podcast side of things because the live streams, I have this all the time. So that live interaction, I really, really enjoy, and I think that's going to breathe some life into the podcast as well. So that is a completely valid corrective criticism or criticism, as it were, and I agree with it. I felt it. The small council has told me about that previously. And now that I feel like the last couple of episodes, now obviously you all have only heard one of them with Rand, but me and Michael recorded it last Sunday. You guys will hear that tomorrow. I feel like it was better just because it doesn't feel like a chore, like something I had to do. And it felt that way for Amanda when she was talking about one of the reasons she's leaving the show. The main reason is it wasn't fun. It's a lot of work. She wasn't really enjoying it. Fair point. And I wasn't there for the podcast side of things either. So I'm super stoked about this. I'm really excited. So glad to hear that other folks are excited about the ideas as well, because it's scary. Change is scary, right? And so I don't know if it's going to be received well. And I make my living by creating content that y'all enjoy and that I'm passionate about and that I enjoy. So it's got to be that meeting place between us, you know? Oh, hey. And Jesse just bumped his patronage. Jesse, cheers. Thank you for that. Awesome. Thank you very much. Scott saying, love to hear mechanisms rather than mechanics. I'll be honest, I used to be one of the mechanics guys, but yeah, all right, fine. I do it begrudgingly, but you're right. Adam says yes to the setup videos. Cool. Other people are liking the mechanisms as opposed to mechanics. Okay, noted. Setup videos would be a good idea. Okay, cool. Can the rest of the show be you trying to say Teotihuacan? No, Eric, no. I embarrass myself plenty without having to do it more than I have to. How's that? Joseph says, can't believe I was watching conspiracy videos with this going. And Trevor talks about how the review outline can help keep things going, but he wants it a little bit more fluid. And I think that's a fair point. Yeah. There's a reason the reviews are set up the way they are, is because that's the way I think I need to have my thoughts not written down, but at least bullet pointed, because I'm scared I'm going to forget stuff. And I like trying to be complete. And even with that, I still sometimes forget. And after I'm done with the review, I'm like, I should have talked about, and I still forget stuff. So it's more or less, it's less reading and more just reminders. But yeah, I'm stoked for the future of the podcast side of things for sure. Well, and obviously the live streams, because I really enjoy these. Okay, a lot of people really like the setup idea. So Brad, if you're watching this originally, good idea. And recently, Rob, thanks for pushing that. So after Essen, look for those to start coming up, guys. All right. A gathering of strangers. Ali likes the idea of the stepping stone progress of okay, how to go from this game to this. And sometimes folks, he says, sometimes struggle. He struggles with that, suggesting, okay, we played this, now maybe moving on to this. I think there's merit to that. So very cool. I Jesse, you're mean. Says do it. Say it. Teotihuacan. Okay, so there we go. I still think I butchered it, but I used to say Teotihuacan, but Dustin was pretty adamant about that I was mispronouncing it. So there's that. All right, thanks for the $2, Jesse, for that. Cody asks, was Kansas City ever a consideration for moving to? Did you know immediately without question Boston would be where you land? Kinda. I think Boston was going to be the place, at least for the next year, and gonna see how things play out. I was talking to a friend the other day who was saying, I was like, what else do you do for fun? And I was told, whatever I want to. I have that flexibility and I have that freedom. And I was like, I mean, it sounds stupid, but I was like, wow. Yeah. And so the show could be from anywhere. But yeah, Boston was kind of the plan. For the two reasons that I gave. Honestly, that was kind of what now, does that mean that I will forever stay in Boston? No, I'm never say never. But for right now, that's kind of where I wanted to be. I'm going to miss the Mexican food here in Denver. I'm not going to lie. El Champito, the best street tacos I've ever had. I will be going there once again before I leave because that will be sorely, sorely missed. But I'm trading Mexican food for amazing Chinese food, so okay. And really good seafood, I imagine, in Boston. I'm not a huge seafood guy, but, some chowder. So, yeah, dig it. And not to be over or understated, yeah, I already found a barber in Boston. Well, okay, technically in Wakefield, but yeah, you get the idea. She was amazing. So, yeah, really stoked for that. All right, so people are starting to list their games. Oh, my, I just did a thing, and oh, wow, I'm behind. Underwater Cities and Coimbra, Brazil, Black Angel, Forum Trajanum, Aridia, The Paths We Dare Tread, Weather Machine, On Mars, Artificial Intelligence. Will there be a 12 Days of Christmas live streamathon again this year, MBO? By the way, it was 27, it was the Advent, 27 streams in 24 days. We'll see. As things get closer, we'll see. That's all I'm going to promise. Probably not for the 24 days for the simple fact that PAX Unplugged is in December, so maybe following that leading up to Christmas. We'll see. Not promising. If that gets bigger, that's entirely possible. Marlene asks, what happened with Punching Cardboard? Jim and I had a bit of a falling out. He did not like... let me back up. We had a bit of a falling out. Leading up, the 6 months leading up to HeavyCon, things were kind of... I wasn't really a good friend to most anybody, honestly. I was completely focused on the show and what all was going on behind the scenes with me and Amanda and everything else. And so I kind of distanced myself from a lot of my friends. And he was rightfully upset about that. And then when the news came out that Amanda and I had split up, and not through any one action by either one of us, by anything like that, people did not appreciate that what all was going on there with regards to me and Amanda, and me and Jess, and Amanda and her side of things. And so they're kind of like why there are people not on the live stream. They just chose to not be friends with me anymore because of that. And I've tried, and it just hasn't worked out. So we've gone in different directions. I wish Jim nothing but the best, and I would like to reconcile, honestly, but I don't know that he would. So I don't know. Lustanza, On Mars, Brazil, and Forbidden City, or Gugong, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering that too. Captains of the Gulf, Teotihuacan, Newton, and Reykholt. Yes. By the way, if you guys did not hear... Oh, wait. Never mind. I haven't been given permission to talk about that. I will say that there is a heavy cardboard-related Easter egg in Reykholt. Okay? Not what you probably expect, but it's one of the coolest things I've ever had done for me in a game. So there's your only spoil or teaser. So If you get a copy of Reykjavik, then you can try and figure out what that is. City of the Big Shoulders, although keep in mind that's going to be 2019. And so is Brazil, for that matter. Okay. Oh, I like that idea, Trevor. Maybe we should set up a herd Essen anticipation preview where the herd votes on what they're interested in. I think that's an awesome idea, actually, Trevor. You want to start a geek list and talk about it there in Slack and get folks geek list over on BGG and doing that? That would be amazing. I would love that. And I could actually, in the actual preview show, I can talk about, oh, and here are the herds top 10 or something. That would be amazing. Awesome idea, dude. Really good idea. Oh, hey, we got a blinking light back here. Wow. Jim. Cheers, Jim. Thank you for the support very much. Welcome to the herd. Woohoo. All right. Yeah, Franny says no shtick for Edward. Going back to the wetsuit idea, he's a Marine, not a performing SEAL. That's kind of where I lie with that. And not saying that the other shows are performing. See, I don't want to. No, I'm not trying to start any beefs. I love the Shut Up and Sit Down guys a lot, actually. And Efka and Elaine are amazing over at MPI. So no, that's not what I'm saying. But no, that's not my thing. Peak oil spillover expansion from Essen. A lot of people talking about Newton. It was good, or kind of a game on a pile of games is the general consensus from what people are saying here. Keyflow, Pax Emancipation, Dice Fishing, and maybe mini World War II. All right, Space Monkey. What's up, Matthias? Manitoba, Carpe Diem, Valparaiso, Western Legend, Australia. All right, Ian. Oh, good question, Fabio. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Fabio asks, hi, Edward, between Teotihuacan and Zolkin, which one did you like more? So, before I answer that, let me clarify one thing. Teo was a sponsored playthrough, so we didn't do a roundtable discussion on that. That said, I'm no longer on the sponsored playthrough. My thoughts are my own. I really, really liked it a lot. I have four or five full playthroughs. Ryan demoed it a million times at Gen Con. I saw it being demoed there a bunch. I'm not sick of it yet. So which did I enjoy more? I think I have to temper that a little bit because Teo is new and it's the latest, greatest. But honestly, I think I like that more. However, it's fiddly, and it has a lot of things that you need to remember as far as all the steps. Oh, I forgot to move up the pyramid track. Oh, I forgot to bump up one of my workers. Things that are easy to forget. It's not ruining the experience. It's just something to be aware of. So I really like them both, honestly, and they very much feel like different games. They share a similar theme, and they have some of the same stuff. The temple tracks being the big thing. But I'm leaning towards Teo. I think I liked a little bit more. I think. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Hey, wow. You guys are rocking today. Miguel. Cheers, Miguel. Thank you. I'm seeing a whole bunch of orders from the store coming in, too. Cool. Just be patient with those guys. Okay, please, guys and gals, please be patient with those. But, yes, the store definitely is open. Let's see. Anything new that being mentioned as far as games people are excited to check out? Marlon says the Wendake, the Kemet, and the Santa Maria expansions. Okay, cool. Santa Maria. that's one thing that both Rand and I regretted having not touched on. We touched on the theme and how that comes through in colonialism pretty well and addressed the social impact of these type of games. But what we didn't do is we didn't compare it how it addresses the theme like other games that gloss over it, like a Santa Maria or a Puerto Rico or anything like that. And that was the one regret both Rand and I really had, that we're like, why didn't we do that? Just sometimes when you're prepping for a show, sometimes you get a bit of tunnel vision and you forget. And that goes back to one of the reasons I'm really excited about including y'all in the reviews live. I think, see, I'm stoked for that. All right, anyway. York says the Dark Flight stuff, the Estates, Sierra Madre games. Okay. Mira, my Essen list is getting longer and longer. See so many great games that I forget about. Yeah. Oh, it's horrible. She says, yeah, it's horrible, but I'm excited to check them all out. Aren't we all? I mean, seriously. Hey, welcome, Tony. Yorick says Netherlands is cheaper than Paris, I hope. I feel like you're biased, Yorick, but yes, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Same with the entire Dutch contingent is agreeing with that. Nice, because there's the Dutch heavy cardboard meetup, right? Oh, Pipeline also. So speaking of which, I'm going to be doing a live stream playthrough of Pipeline in time around the Kickstarter for it, which is supposed to be in November. So that's going to be post Essen. So keep an eye out for that. Really, really looking forward to that one. I've been looking forward to it for 2 years now, I think it is. So looking forward to that. Ben asks, did the post-HeavyCon survey come out yet? I can't remember seeing it. Nope, and it's not gonna. And the reason for that, Ben, is honestly, all the feedback that I will have gotten is either going to be addressed already or it's moot because HeavyCon's probably moving east. So therefore, the venue is going to change. So therefore, it takes care of most of the things that people had issues with. So honestly, I didn't see the need to sending out the survey. That was kind of pointed out to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's kind of a good point. So with everything else going on, that wasn't a priority. So I felt pretty confident in what needs to be addressed, and which isn't really a whole lot. And just keep on keeping on with the move. Okay. Tony asks, 5 words. How was Teotihuacan? Thoroughly enjoyable. Lots of fun. There you go. That was 5 words, Tony. Hope that helps. Scott, it was very interacting. Okay, that's one way to put it. Ollie asks, how many games do you get to play every week? It must be difficult to get players sometimes. I game a lot, but sometimes it's only once a week, and that would amount to being a problem running your channel. Obviously, it ebbs and flows, right? But my goal is I'll be, in a perfect world, I would probably be playing games 5 days a week. Some of those are obviously going to be live stream games, still playing or running a game, so still essentially playing a game. So 2 to 3 live streams a week, 2 game days I'm going to be hosting at the house at HCHQ going forward once I get settled in the Boston area. And then probably 1 other just playing games. So I would say probably, the goal being about 5 days a week and anywhere between 5 and 10 games a week, depending on the size of the game and what all's coming down the pike. I think because it's funny. I see there are some people like Steph Punkin or All the Meeples of the Rainbow is her blog over on BGG. There is not another human being that I know of that plays as many games as her, other than maybe Mur, who had a streak of over 1,000 straight days of playing games, which is unbelievable. Literally, the word unbelievable, that is that. They play a lot of smaller games, and so that allows you to play more games in a single day. But more often than not, our game days consist of, if it's a live stream, it's one, preparing for the live stream throughout the day, getting the script written, and setting up everything, making sure all the cameras are set up right and the view is good here. And then if it's game day, 2, maybe 3 or 4, if there's like 2, meat games, if you will, and then the 2 others that fill around the side, could be up to 4 games in a day. But there are some people that I know play 8, 10, 12 games in a day, and I'm like, I have no idea how you do that. That is amazing. Wow. This is amazing. Speaking of which, Adam. Cheers. Welcome to the herd. Thank you. Wow. Thank you, guys. That's wow. Vince says, I'd be more in favor of a rotating chair reviewing games than just a regular live review. Occasionally, probably okay. Gives the guests some time to form thoughtful feedback. Also again, it's going to be an experimentation, and I don't think there's ever going to be, this is how we do it, period, going forward. I think there's going to be some mix, again, to keep it fresh, both for me as well as for y'all, and we'll see what sticks. We're going to experiment, try some things. I guarantee you some things are going to bomb spectacularly. Really? How many L's were there in that? Spectacularly. Wow. Am I new? Sorry. All right. Michael says, I'm enjoying the new perspectives you're bringing to the podcast. Awesome to hear. Oh, right. Okay. Vince is talking the regular live review. Right. Everything's going to be scheduled. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be some gonzo streams. And when I say gonzo streams, like usually that's going to be on caffeine. That's going to be unscheduled. Hey, you know what? I feel like doing this today, so I do it. But that's not going to be in lieu of something else. It's just maybe I'm sitting around the house and I got a wild hair and I'm like, you know what? Kind of like what we did with the app for Through the Ages over on Caffeine. That was amazing. That was a lot of fun playing with the community. That was so much fun. So stuff like that's going to be gonzo streamed, so impromptu. Everything else is definitely going to be scheduled, hence the weekly look ahead. That's going to continue. I heard plenty of feedback that needs to not stop, the weekly look ahead, so understood. Those will continue. And also, huge thank you to James for stepping up and doing the graphics on those. Dude, love the direction he took those. Really well done. Seriously. More orders. You guys are amazing today. This is fantastic. How do you feel about podcasts with people who are newer into the hobby? Grav asks. I think that'd be exciting. I think that would be really interesting to get a different perspective because obviously, I mean, hell, I haven't been in the hobby that long. I've been in the hobby, 5.5 years total? The show's just over 4 years old, so not that long. But you're saying somebody newer even so, like maybe this is your first year or something like that, first 2 years. I think that would be awesome perspective. I think that would be really cool. I would like that. So apparently Gaurav is volunteering himself. Are you, Gaurav? Nick says, I'll be honest, I prefer to have a consistent co-host. I'd rather have something that I know their opinions are and how I align with them than some random guest or crowdsourced. And that also is something that I'm struggling with these ideas as well, because I know folks that have been listening to the podcast for a while know where I stand on various mechanisms and what I like and what I don't like. As I'm a human and I'm a gamer, and you guys know kind of where my tastes lie. So what things sit well with me and what don't. The important thing here, I feel like, before I get to that, Knowing the host and knowing where their biases are, because we all have biases, right, helps give perspective on on something that somebody will or won't like in general. Then there are outliers like Millennium Blades, which I shouldn't like, but I really do. However, the one disagreement that I have with you on this, Nick, is you don't have to know the other host, whether it's a guest or whether it's crowdsourced. And here's why, in my opinion. And you can disagree and we can have this dialogue. And it's not just for Nick. This is open for everybody. But I feel as when I do reviews, the single most important thing that I do in the review is not tell you whether I liked it or whether I didn't like it. I am one opinion. Sure. Is it a somewhat educated opinion because I have experience, multiple plays of these games? Sure. And I have fair extensive knowledge of the industry now and all. Sure. Whatever. Okay, fine. But ultimately, it still is just my opinion. But the important thing, and the most important thing in my opinion, of all this is telling you why my opinion is this. And that is something that I try and drive home every review, and not just within every review, but back up all my reasons for things, the why of why I feel this way, or why I think, or why I like, or why I don't like. Because ultimately, that is what's going to help you guys make decisions on whether or not a game is going to be a good fit. It's not, oh, Edward liked it, so I should like it. Yes, I get, oh, Edward liked it, and his and my tastes align alike, so yeah, I'm likely to like that. Maybe. I hear that. But even if you didn't know me, hearing the why I feel this way about something should also help give you the information to be able to help make an informed decision. So I feel like that kind of offsets that a little. Do you agree or disagree? George asks, can you give the backstory of the Glory to Rome references? Yeah. So Sweater Mike originally started with this. So Glory to Rome, the game, the black box edition, the regular one. One of the actions is whenever you play the Legionnaires card, you can steal resources or steal cards from your opponents on your direct left or on your direct right. If you say Rome demands brick, let's say, and one of the players doesn't have it, they have to show you their hand and exclaim, "Glory to Rome," which is basically go fornicate with yourself, but in a really nice way, saying, no, I'm not giving you any. I don't have any. So Sweater Mike thought it would be really funny if we did that on the live stream, so to keep them a little bit more family friendly. Now, are we perfect about that? No, things slip. Not pointing any fingers here, Robert. But sometimes things slip. But that's the impetus for the Glory to Rome count, which, by the way, I'm not saying that's the biggest number that can be this side of 1,000, but 188 Glory to Romes, that's a really big number, and I had to use 2 lines. It's the first number I've had to use 2 lines on because it was too long to fit on that. So hopefully that answers your question, George. Adam says, with the guest hosts on the reviews, I would like a couple of minutes at the beginning talking about their favorite games, why they're their favorites, to frame the conversation. I tried to do that with Michael, but I didn't really take it to the favorite games and why, but I really like that idea, actually, Adam. I will do that. Good call. Vince says, have you given thought, obviously this would be a ways away, to doing short 10-minute edited, i.e. produced, video overviews of some games? I think a series of these short videos would be widely popular. Have I given it thought? Yes. Is it coming anytime soon? No. Why? Time. The only way that that is something that I could do is I don't have the skill in which to edit video. I'll be honest, part of the reason decided to go into live stream direction as opposed to edited video was don't have to edit. As long as I can present well and interact with you guys well in one take because it's live, then I think that's a better direction for me. Am I willing to do that? Yes. But honestly, it comes down to money. I need to be able to hire somebody or be able to pay somebody to do the editing. And you could ask yourself then, well, why can't you do it? Time. I can't do a podcast, host live streams, prepare for all that, and edit in an 80-hour work week. Just not going to happen. So I would have to bring somebody on, and I would have to make enough money in which to do that, which the money that all of our patrons are supplying is enough to pay the bills for me and keep the lights on. The end. So that's ultimately what it comes down to. If it gets to a point to where I can afford to have somebody help with that, then absolutely that's something that I could entertain. But right now, not in the cards and not a direction I'm planning on going anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that won't happen. Okay. And Tony asks, I know you guys always say we don't get top-level play when you have the pressure of a live teach and stream. And the reason for that is you don't want lots of downtime, lots of AP. Plus, at least from my personal standpoint, I can't speak to the other players. I got a lot on my plate when I'm live streaming. I'm not only playing the game, teaching the game, but I'm also interacting with you guys. I'm running the stream. I'm switching the cameras. I'm a live producer as well as host, as well as participant in the game. High-level play is never going to happen. And it cracks me up when I read some of the comments about how big of a disaster I am in some of these games. Sorry. But Tony says, have you ever thought of doing strategy guides or how to play X game well type of content? Have I thought about it? Yes. Here's the problem with that. You have to be well experienced in these games to be able to definitively say these are good strategies or this works or why on this stuff. I don't have enough time to be able to get that involved in a game on a regular basis to be able to do those. Could I do something like that for like a dominant species? Yes. Could I do it for Age of Steam? Probably not, because I bounce around on maps too much. And there's not one hard, fast plan with Age of Steam. Damn sure couldn't do it with 18XX. Could I bring somebody on that could? Yes, that's a possibility. But because having to go through so many games, let's face it, people revolt if I don't do 2 to 3 live streams a week. There's a certain churn rate that people expect. So while that's good in theory, I don't see that happening anytime soon either when it comes to strategy things, because that would then come at the cost of something else, and all of the other content is in more demand than those. Does that make sense? Plus, I don't know that I want to do that, honestly. I don't think that would be really enjoyable to me. Plus, I know there are plenty of people out there that are like this. They want to find these strategies on their own. It's almost like spoiling games in some ways. So I don't really know if I want to do that. I'm sure some people would enjoy it for sure, but I don't think that's the direction I want to go. Now, does that mean going back to the question earlier of a network type thing and bringing some people on that want to do that? That's a possibility, potentially. Same with the whole edited 10-minute overview, da-da-da-da-da. That could happen sooner rather than not, unless this goes up significantly to where I can then afford to bring somebody on to do that, So hopefully that answers that. With Ambi's 18XX promotional videos, along with the ones that we've done before, as well as the podcasts, the primers, I wonder if we could get a crossover. She'd be great on a playthrough. If she comes to Boston, she'd be more than welcome to be on there. Ambi and I get along really well. Yeah. Jesse says he's every time he's talked about Teotihuacan, he's pronounced it different every time. This is by far going to be the most mispronounced game in the history of the hobby, for the simple fact that it's going to be super popular. So everyone's going to try and pronounce it. It's going to be hysterical. Just it's going to shorten to Teo, I have a feeling. And Ollie's talking about thinking about podcasts I listen to. They all have consistent hosts, and I listen to them because of how well the hosts work together. Maybe try a few hosts before settling on one. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. We will see. That's all I'm going to promise on that, Ollie. And I've kind of talked about that pretty in depth now at this point, I think. Adam did the phonetic spelling. According to Wikipedia, it's Teotihuacan. Yeah, Teotihuacan. All right, good enough. And this is why I highlight chat, so I can go back to where my space. Oh my. This is going to be a 3-hour Ask the Elephant, isn't it? No, I'm not surprised. I think if this Ask the Elephant has taught us anything, that we need shorthand for Teotihuacan, yeah, it's called Teo. There you go. And I'm getting both sides of it for the reviews on the podcast about consistent hosts versus changes, et cetera, et cetera. All I ask is enjoy the experimentation as this goes and give me feedback. So if you're really enjoying something or you're really not enjoying something, whether it's on the YouTube channel or over on the podcast, give me feedback. I can't fix what I don't know is broken. So if you guys do or don't like something, speak up. The onus kind of is on y'all in that regard, because if you're hanging out and you're listening or consuming the content and I'm asking for feedback so that I know what you guys enjoy, give it, please. I'm asking. It's going to be super important going forward, okay? MBO says one of his favorite things from last year was the advent of holiday streaming. We'll see. Will the challenge coin be changed to Boston from Denver, and will the mountains leave the coin? Too early to tell, but what I do know is about 2 months ago, we ordered 300 new challenge coins, so they're not changing until those are gone. So if you want one of the first run ones, you have to get one of these. Will it change eventually? Yes, I'm sure there will be another challenge coin that comes to be. But what will it be? I don't know yet. You know, Giovanni asks, is my kitten the best? I got to see pictures, man. I'm not going to just give blanket yes. Nah, I want pictures. Prove it. Make your case, Giovanni, that your kitten, and first off, your kitten doesn't have a name? How can it be the best if it's just the kitten? Come on, work with me here. I don't know, Mira, if it's in both, but I know it's in the Frosted Games version, the Easter egg on Raycolt that has a heavy cardboard connection. Take care, Adam. I know you left like 2 hours ago. I realize that, but that's fine. And Ollie, it is not Edward in Raycolt. I am not in that game. To the best of my knowledge, I am not in that game. It is not me. I am not in that game. Oh, okay. Rabbi's setting up a heavy cardboard meetup in the D.C. area for Columbus Day. I'm going to be that guy. I don't know off the top of my head. When's Columbus Day, Rabbi? When is that? And maybe I can make the trip, depending. But when is that? So Touch base with the rabbi. That's Philip Millman, for those that don't know the rabbi. He really is a rabbi. Adam says, I'm new to the channel. What's the herd? Supporters, I'm assuming, but it's kind of a little bit nebulous. It's the community at large, the heavy cardboard community, those of us that share in the love of these heavier games, but also just really damn good people. That's kind of the herd. Now, we do say that our patrons are a part of the herd. They are, but it's not just them. It's the community at large. It's an amazing community, too. So the fact that you're here, Adam, means you're kind of a part of the herd. So thanks for being here, dude. And Scott just answered it right after there you go. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. I should read. Oh, wow. No pre-orders for Teo. NSKN's booth is going to be hammered the entire time. That's going to be fun. Cool. Yorick says 1,000 patrons by the end of the year is the plan. I won't say no. I don't think it's possible, but I would love to be proven wrong. A lot. That would be amazing. Sure. Does that mean I'm getting paid more money? Yes. Obviously, that is a perk. That is a cool thing. Don't get me wrong. I just want the comma, and I want my damn tattoo. Not going to lie. That would be really cool. Dan says, at the rate we're going, 1,000 before the night's out. Easy. Miguel says, I've been a long-time lurker. Finally decided to show some support. Really appreciate that, Miguel. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate that. Oh, yeah, good call. Vince says, oh boy, almost 3:30 in the morning. When's the capstone contest announcement? I suppose I could do that now. Let me bring it up, because I would have forgotten. Thanks, Vince. There it is. All right. So I'm going to read this off partially. Okay. So here we go. From Capstone Games. The Iron Rail series from Capstone Games are games that feature investing in building railroad networks for different companies focused in specific geographic regions around the world. These economic route building games are commonly known as winsomes. For those new to winsomes, the games feature a wide range of player counts, typically 3 to 6 players, playtimes 30 to 60 minutes, and very straightforward, simple rules. By nature, the games are extremely interactive and feature unique nuances that are not immediately apparent. There's a whole long thing here that he keeps talking about this. Hell, I'll just read the whole thing. Here we go. The Iron Rail series of games focuses on rail network developments in various geographic regions around the world, and at a time when iron and steam-powered locomotives were the best means of transportation. That's one hell of a run-on sentence, Clay. The series is dedicated to the robust iron railways built during this time. Each game in the series represents a locomotive running on these aforementioned iron rails, with Irish Gauge representing the inaugural title as Engine Number 1. Irish Gauge takes place in a mid-1800s Ireland. The railway term track gauge refers to the spacing of the rails on the railway track measured between the interfaces of the rails. Standard gauge refers to 1.4335 4 feet 8.5 inches. Distances less than standard gauge are classified as narrow gauge, and distances larger are classified as broad gauge. The track gauge adopted by the railways in Ireland is 5 feet 3 inches. The history of how the unusual Irish Gauge track came to be can be found here, and he gives a link. Irish Gauge plays 3 to 5 players over the course of 60 minutes, and by the way, it's my favorite winsome game. On a player's turn, not a coincidence, this is his first reprint of these, just saying. On a player's turn, they can either auction a share of any available company, build railway track in one of the companies, upgrade a small town to a city, or request dividends to be paid. Upgrading towns and requesting dividends to be paid affect the length of the game and the probability of companies paying dividends in the future. The game will end when a certain condition is met. The player with the most money plus stock value wins the game. Irish Gauge, designed by Tom Russell, with illustrations and graphic design by the Ian O'Toole, is slated for release summer 2019. Thank you to all the Heavy Cardboard patrons who participated in the contest to name this new series of games from Capstone Games. There were over 70 entries, and many with detailed explanations to consider. It was incredible to see the creativity flowing from everyone. Without further ado, the winner of the contest is patron and small council member Matthew Waymost. Congratulations. Due to the sheer number of entrants, I would like to award a secondary prize with their choice of either Irish Gauge or a Capstone tumbler, the drink cup thing, to two other entrants, Kenny Barisi and Aaron Thompson. Thank you for your time and creative entries to the contest. Please send an email to contact@capstone-games.com to provide details for your prize. So there you go. So congratulations, Jesse Waymost, and to Aaron. So awesome. Congratulations, y'all. All right, cool. There we go. And now the numbers plummet. There you go. So hopefully that helped, Vince. How do you feel, Garav, how do you feel about podcasts with people of varying levels of experience in a hobby? We already touched on that. Sorry about that. All right. James says we need more manufacturing games. Kanban, Arkwright, love Rising Sun. First play, my son had his clan special power as betrayal. Does not apply. I am immune to betrayal. Nice. All right. Oh. McManus says, still a ways off. Looking forward to the Tricarian Collector's Edition. Looking forward to playing it at Grand Con. I'm looking forward to it also. We're going to be live streaming it in hopefully October, maybe November, here on the show as well. Yoshi. Hi, there's a name I haven't seen before. Hey man, if I'm interested in 18XX games, but have never played anything heavier than Terra Mystica, where's a good place to start? 1846 or 1889 are the two. And if you're playing Terra Mystica, you're going to be fine. You can handle an 18XX as long as you can handle simple arithmetic. A lot of it, but simple. You're good. 1846 from GMT or 1889 from all the board games. Those are the recommendations for sure. I appreciate that, Robert. So Robert recently had to quit being a patron. And he says, one of my payments, he had major car repair, new dishwasher, new water heater. Oh, cool. He said, I'll resume my patronage then. Keep up the great work. Ultimately, this should be, if you want to, number one, and number two, you find value in it. And number three, if you can afford it and you want to do it, it shouldn't be a stressor at all, ever, by anybody. I do not want that, regardless of your level. So, totally understandable, and that's a lot to hit you all at once, Robert. Good luck. I hope all that gets done soon. Oof. Trevor, as far as that goes, I can always send it out to show stuff, so just send me a link. James says, I love the idea of being a part of Davis's herd, since his last name is Davis. Jess can kind of relate as well. Oh, okay. Neil asked, can you discuss the Black Wargame camera setup you're working on? Sure. It's going to be a little hard to describe, so bear with me. I'll do the best I can here. So up above here, what me and Matt created was some black pipe, like a gas pipe, right? In the shape of a W, okay? Attached in 3 points to the ceiling. I want to do 3 of those. There's one that has the main camera here, it has my Tableau camera here, and then it has, if you watch the dreidel game, killing Nazis with dreidels, Operation Maccabee, as well as the climbers live streams. You saw that I had a camera off to the side there. So all of those are on that up above. I want to do one that is closer to either over my head or just behind me, and then one on the other side of the table. And the reason for that is I want to be able to get a extension arm, one of the Manfrotto arms, come down and have a camera over the shoulder of the opponent, facing from where you guys are looking, basically, but kind of back over there, over here, looking down at their blocks. And then having a camera over, well, it's not going to be exactly right here, but right here doing the exact same thing looking this way. The reason this has been so hard is because of where these two cameras are that feature the people on this, trying to not get a camera on screen. It is a big deal to me that you guys don't see cameras, you don't see tripods, and you don't see lights. All the lights are mounted to the ceiling up here as well. So future landlord, you're not listening to this, okay? So just FYI. It's a really big deal for me to be professional to the level that you guys don't see those things. Now, obviously, when we were in the basement, we were first getting started, I was sitting underneath a tripod, and you did see some of those things. Going forward, I don't want you ever seeing those things. So trying to get it to where I can have an arm come down and have the camera coming over and being able to read the blocks. That's going to be a really key thing for block war games, is being able to see the blocks. Now, does it mean that maybe you only see my side of things or my opponent's side of things or something like that to where you don't see them both? Maybe. We're still playing with it, but that is the idea that we have kind of settled on. But if there's anybody out there, and I'm being dead serious, if there's anybody out there that has suggestions or is into video production professionally, I would love feedback and ideas on this if you have other ideas. Another thing that I want to do once we get this number boosted up is I want a PTZ camera. So we have the main camera that you guys, if you've watched the live streams, you see what the main camera is. It's a really good camera that I have up there, okay? It's a Canon XA30 video camera. What I also want up there is a PTZ camera, a push to zoom. Because if you've ever seen like Monday Night Football, they go into the truck and they show the production. They have that little joystick and all that. The reason I want a PTZ camera is I want the camera to be able to, I would basically have two keyboards. So this is one of my keyboards that switches to the different cameras as well as the different pre-programmed things. I would have a second keyboard that would allow me to get that PTZ camera to zoom in on specific parts of the board to where I could hit a button, it zooms to that one, and then I hit another button on the main keyboard that switches to that camera. So boom, all of a sudden, we're talking about action board number 8. It's zoomed in on action board number 8. And so I can do that, especially during the teaches. That would be amazing. And that would be able to zoom in and be tight on everything. That's what I want. So that's kind of where I'm taking the show as far as for the live streams go. And maybe eventually we get multiple feeds going to where, oh, you don't want to play as my Tableau. Maybe you play with so-and-so's Tableau over there and they have a Tableau cam and all of that. But all those things cost money. So it's a matter of time being able to get to that. But that is where I'm going with things. So I would love your feedback on whether or not you think this is a good investment and whether or not you think it'd be exciting and interesting to watch and worth it. So take care, Mira. Oh, we're definitely going to be filming the setup of the new studio or documenting it for sure. Don't worry about that, Eric. Skipping. Where's the ASL stream? Never going to happen. No. I have no interest in ASL. That is a bridge too far for me. Sorry. That one. For those that don't know, Advanced Squad Leader has volumes for its rule book. Yeah, no. Tony says, do you need a handsome and hardworking Scotsman to move to Boston and run heavy cardboard behind the scenes? Do you? Hey, if you move here and you want to help, absolutely. Make it happen, Tony. Ollie, hardworking Scotsman. Wait, sorry, that makes no sense. Michael brings up a good point, says if you want to talk strategy, Slack channel's probably a great place to get good advice. That's actually a valid point. That's actually really good. Hey, Mills. Says, Edward, how are you? I'm hot right now. I'm hungry and need to go grab something to eat. I'm stressed that the house hasn't sold. I'm stressed that I don't have a place to move into yet in the Boston area, but hopefully that gets remedied next week. I'm feeling really good because last night's stream, Mateo, I think really, really went well. It's always nice to hear the publisher reach out and say, hey, really, it couldn't have been happier with it. They thought it went great. The interaction was fantastic. So that always feels good because I feel like that went really well, and I feel like the work that I put into it paid off, and it sounds like you guys really enjoyed it. So overall, I'm good, man. I'm excited. I'm in a good mood, but I'm stressed as all hell, guys. The house needs to sell, and arguably, more importantly than the house needs to sell, I need to have a place to move into. So, yeah. There you go. Maybe that's TMI, but you asked, so I thought I would tell. Okay? Should have done an over-under on how many times I've talked about Teo. That's funny. By the way, you guys can't hear this, but over in my office, which is on the other part of the house, I can actually hear. I'm live streaming, right? And I can hear me in there because I forgot to close that window. Oops. So it's pretty funny to me that I can, about 20 seconds later, I can hear what I'm saying. Anyway. Prep for Essen hasn't gone yet, and it will go though hardcore here in a couple of weeks. I really love the idea of having a herd like top 10, like most anticipated, just listing games that everybody in the herd is anticipating and then going for that when I do the preview show. I think that's an amazing idea. I'm so glad. And this is why I love the idea of, with the reviews, having you guys think of things that I don't think about. That is, I love you guys. Oh, Giovanni says look on Twitter for his kitten. I'll do that after the stream. Oh, hell, I'll do it now. Hold on, let's look. Okay, yes, Giovanni, yes. Okay. There you go. I'm actually, yes. This is exciting watching me live tweet. There we go. Giovanni says apparently my new cat likes watching stuff. He's watching me, and now I'm watching his cat watch Inception. And yes, he's awfully adorable. You win. Yes, he is the greatest. Okay, you win. Yes. Hano says, big thumb up for the Brides and Bribes stream. Laughed out loud with the scene of the ugly sister on the balcony. If you're a patron and you go into yesterday's random conversation in random, you're going to see what Eliza's one of the 3 designers of Brides and Bribes. She made a graphic that is, I had tears streaming down my cheeks. So the glory to Rita's that flew because of, well, Rita, you'll have to go watch a live stream. She made this has got to be a promo. They got to figure out a way to do a promo. I'm going to share it on social media once this is done. It was one of the funniest things that I've seen in a while. I loved it. It was, yeah. So, yeah, Brides and Bribes. Whoo. I'll be honest, I'm a little hesitant to do a Glory to Rome stream of that one, though, because there can be some, I would be worried about people saying some things that are, even though it's glory to Rome, that are still kind of off limits. And I don't think that would be a good idea. And I think that would be a misstep. Saying to go fornicate with yourself is one thing, but saying some other things might not be. So yeah, that'd be tough. Oh, hey, Noah also says the distance of rails was the standard distance of wagon wheels at the time. Huh. All right. I'm now catching up to the announcement in chat. I'm so bad about this. Hano says, I could mount a camera where Davis is right now and you wouldn't really be able to see. Yeah, you would. And I'm not okay with that. Overboard Games says, hey there, I've been digitally streaming board games for a year and wanted to transition to IRL in real life. Excuse me. What's the cheapest way to start streaming in real life? I don't know that I have a good answer for you because all of the cameras that I use are actual video cameras and they're not webcams. The reason is because they're better cameras. They have optical zooms as opposed to digital zooms. Digital zooms on webcams make things look like crap. However, they need capture cards. Any of the capture cards that we used were inconsistent at best. And so what I use now is capture cards that are in a desktop, and those are about $1,000 a piece. So cheap, I don't know that I have an answer. I know how to do it well. I think I'm very proud of our setup. I'm very proud of what's been built here, and I don't think there's anybody that can match this right now. So cheap, I don't know that I can help you, but I could help you with, if you're interested in what we do, you can always go to the FAQ on our website, heavycardboard.com, and that actually addresses that. Okay? Starfleet battles, if somebody wants to teach it and run the game on the stream, I would play it. Hey, Nick says, late to the party this evening. Looks like the U.S. domestic market for property sales moves much faster than the U.K. Well, I know of friends who sold their house in 2 days. Well, I went under contract in 2 days and then, about 30 days to sell it. But yeah, it's been 3 weeks. Stressing. So yeah. Woo, 4 months at least to sell in the UK. Wow. Vincent asks, have you had a chance to play Planet Steam? I know it's on the live stream vote list, but wonder if you know anything about it yet. Yes, have played it a number of times. When Heavy Cardboard originally, there's a group in this neighborhood, a game group, that is where I met Tony and a bunch of the folks. I met Robert. I met a bunch of the folks we were all part of another group. And then I brought up the idea of doing like a game of the month. So every Monday of this week, we're going to vote on a game, or of a month, we're going to vote on a game, and we're going to play that game 4 or 5 times that month, every Monday, and really explore a game. And that was the impetus for my game group and part of what Heavy Cardboard became. The very first game we did that with, Planet Steam. Yeah, really enjoyed that game. Ended up getting rid of it because kind of burnt out on it because we played it so much. That was pre-show. Now I would like to get a copy of it again to then be able to stream it because I think it's a really good game. I think folks would enjoy that. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Vincent? Asbjorn says, try this part of Denmark. I've seen houses on sale for 7 years. Oh, what? Wow. Miguel says Barrage. He took a look at it at BerlinCon and it looked great. Hadn't heard about that. Okay. And York says it has great artwork. That's all he knows. Okay. Take care, Tony. And Joe, go back and listen. Yep, I'm going to not only be at PAX Unplugged, but I'm hosting a pretty big event there at PAX Unplugged. Oh, I caught up. Best solution for hiding cameras will likely be one-way glass that is tinted to hide the camera. You could build a box under the shelf behind you and mount a camera in there. See, thinking outside the box, or I guess inside the box, Adam? I like that. We can always investigate that for sure. Cool. Good deal. Hey, I'm caught up. All right. I'm hungry and I'm thirsty. I still have some tea, though. Anything else? So, that was awesome, dude. We're up to 730. Now, you want to know what's funny? Amanda's made graphics up to 800 on that, but I don't know if I've actually uploaded them to them. So on the one hand, I want more patrons during the stream, obviously. On the other hand, I'm kind of glad you guys stopped at 730 because I really don't want to hit right and it go back to what the first number is in there, which I don't know, it might be like 718 or it might be 731. I don't know. And no, I'm not going to spoil it. We'll find out. But if it doesn't happen here, when I come back, next Friday is going to be the next live stream, which is the 21st. We're also going to be then, I don't know what game, probably 7 p.m. And then BIOS Megafauna on Sunday. Hopefully that number is bigger and there will be more loaded in there. So I will feel rest assured about that. Cool. All right. Leaving for Grand Rapids at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I will be in Grand Rapids as of 3 p.m. tomorrow. And yeah, but you will officially be able to see me Friday at the beginning of the con. So I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Little Tuna is the cat's name, Giovanni. Nice. Well, okay, what is it in Dutch? Plus, I need to go let Asher outside so he doesn't mess the house. That's also the reason I got to go. So, that said, I'm anxiously awaiting Giovanni's answer now. And then after that, we can call it. So we're all waiting for you, Giovanni. Take your time. Cool. Adam says off to play 1960 now. Cool. Good deal. Have fun with that. And Nick, yep, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, for sure on Friday. Looking forward to that. And there it is. It's I'm staring at that, trying to figure out how to pronounce that. Tonaniet. I got it. I got nothing. So eat at the Brewery Vivant in Grand Rapids. Okay, Joseph. So Nick, make note of that. All right, cool. All right, awesome. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're coming to Grand Con, make sure you come see me. Buy swag. But also, let's play some games. I'm really looking forward to that. The meetup, 7 p.m. on Saturday at the Bob. Show up. You don't have to RSVP with me. Just show up. But you can touch base and let me know you're coming. That would help with numbers. Other than that, off to Boston after that to try and find a place to live. Back with live streams the following Friday, the 21st. And last but not least, tomorrow, the podcast, heavycardboard.com, or on your favorite podcast player, our review of Power Grid with me and Michael. Again, like and subscribe. If you guys like this, you enjoy this, I appreciate it. 730 of y'all. Y'all kick ass. Thank you so much for the support. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Take care, guys. Bye.